Good morning, my dear students. I welcome all of you to today's biology class. So, the topic which we are going to take up today is vegetative propagation. And we are going to continue the same chapter, that is how do organisms reproduce. But before that, let us recall what we have learned in the previous class. So, in the previous class, we have discussed about the DNA copying and asexual reproduction. So, asexual reproduction is a process in which new organism is produced from a single parent without the involvement of gametes or sex cells. There are a number of types of asexual reproduction, which includes fission, fragmentation, budding, then vegetative reproduction, regeneration, spore formation. Fine. So, during binary fission, the parent cells divide into two cells. Regeneration is the power of growing a new organism from the lost body part. Fragmentation is another mode of asexual reproduction exhibited by organisms such as Spirogyra. Budding is the process of producing an individual through the buds that develop on the parent body. Hydra is an organism that reproduces by budding. So this is what we discussed about in the previous class. So today we are going to discuss about the vegetative propagation, and we'll also be discussing about spore formation. Okay. So let us look at today's objectives. The objective of today's class is to study about vegetative propagation. So there are many plants which cannot produce seeds. So those plants need a way to reproduce, and the way is vegetative propagation. Okay. You'll also be able to understand how plants can propagate through their vegetative parts. So the parts like leaves, stems, roots, they are called vegetative part of plants. So you'll understand how plants can reproduce with the help of those parts. You'll also understand about tissue culture, and you'll also understand how organisms reproduce by spore formation. Spore formation is another type of asexual reproduction. You'll also understand the advantages of vegetative propagation. Also, there are some disadvantages. We'll also be discussing about that, and also we'll be discussing about the advantage of tissue culture. So children, let us finally begin the class. Okay. So first we'll be discussing about the vegetative propagation. So vegetative propagation is a type of asexual reproduction in which the plants reproduce from their vegetative parts like stem, root, then leaf. Yes, so these are the vegetative parts of plant, and they reproduce with the help of these vegetative parts. And since they are reproducing with the vegetative parts, the propagation is called vegetative propagation. Fine. So vegetative propagation can be of two types, one natural and another artificial. So first we'll be discussing about the artificial vegetative propagation. So artificial vegetative propagation is done by human, and then it is usually done by the horticulturist, those who grow ornamental plants. Yes, and it is used for horticulture, then agricultural purposes. Fine. So the first artificial vegetative propagation is cutting. In this method, a part of plant is cut along with the node and is buried in the soil. The cutting is then watered regularly, and slowly we'll find that the new shoot will come out of that cutting. This is very popular way of propagating plants because it is the cheapest means of vegetative propagation in plants. Fine. So let's move on to the next type. The next type of artificial vegetative propagation is grafting. In this method, the parts of two different plants are joined together such that they can continue to grow as a single plant. That means the two parts of plants are combined together and then they grow as a single plant. The rooted plant is known as the stalk and the other plant is known as the graft. So in the picture you can see that one is the rooted plant and the other is the graft. Yes, so a small branch is taken from other plant of the same species and then they are combined together and it is grafted. Fine. Okay. So the next type of vegetative propagation, that is artificial, is layering. It is the method in which a stem attached to a plant is lowered in the ground and covered with soil. So it's put under the soil and then it within 1 to 3 months the stem will begin to grow the roots and then the stem can be detached from the plants. It can be cut away from the parent plant and then it can grow into an independent plant. Fine. So this is the type of vegetative reproduction that is called layering. Okay. Now let's look into the natural vegetative propagation. The vegetative parts like stem, leaves, roots are able to reproduce on their own, as I've already mentioned. So those are called the natural vegetative propagation. Stems. How do stems reproduce their new plant? Okay. Runners are the stems which usually grow in horizontal form above the ground. They have the nodes where the buds are formed. These buds usually grow into a new plant. So not only runners, there are stolons, then bulb, suckers, yes, tuber. Fine. So all those parts, these are all modified stem. So all these modified stems produces some adventitious buds, and if those buds are grown in soil, it can grow into a new plant. That means the part of the stem which has the bud has to be cut into pieces and then it will be placed in the soil so that the bud can grow into a new plant. Fine. So this is how the stem helps in vegetative propagation. The roots of the plants can also help in the vegetative propagation. A new plant is developed from around inflamed modified roots called tubers, and you can see the picture of sweet potato, and if the part of the sweet potato from where the new plant develops is cut and placed in soil, it will grow into a new individual plant. Not only from stem and root plants can reproduce, from leaves also it can propagate. Fine. So in some plants, detached leaves from the parent plant can be used to grow a new plant. They exhibit growth of small plants called plantlets on the edge of their leaves, for example in bryophyllum. So the edges of the bryophyllum will produce small plantlets which when detached from the leaf will grow into a new plant. So this is how the leaves helps in vegetative propagation, and it is seen in which plant? It's seen in bryophyllum. The advantages of vegetative propagation are: this process makes possible the production of seedless varieties such as banana, orange, rose, jasmine. Yes, so the plants which do not produce their seeds can be grown with the help of vegetative propagation. As compared to the plant propagation by seeds, it is a rapid, cheap and easier method of plant propagation. For example, certain plants such as lilies, which usually take few years to flower, can be made to do so within a year by this technique. That means it is a very fast and rapid process. It helps in the preservation of useful parent characters in the next generation. And the last advantage, that is the fourth advantage, is that this method can be used for plants which can be easily grown in garden due to their small size. So it is usually used for growing ornamental plants. Fine. So now let us look at the disadvantages of vegetative propagation. So due to overcrowding of large number of plants near the parent plant, there is a severe competition between the members of the same species. Thus, many plants become weak and stunted. They may be degenerated of species due to lack of sexual stimulus. Diseases can be transferred from the parent plant to the new plants. It will have very little variation since only one plant is involved. Fine. So these are some of the disadvantages of vegetative propagation. Now let's move on and see what do we mean by spore formation. Many plants and algae form spores in their life cycle. A spore is an asexual reproductive body surrounded by a hard protective cover. They have a hard wall which is able to withstand the unfavorable condition, and it will protect the spore unless and until the condition becomes favorable, and then the spore will find a moist surface so that it can germinate. Fine. So in the picture you can see the structure of Rhizopus, bread mold. Fine. So you can see that there are some hair-like structures which is called hypha, and then there is a blob on a stick-like structure. So that blob is called sporangium or sporangia, and the stick-like structure is called sporangiophore. Fine. And inside the sporangia is present the spores. So spores are the asexual reproductive structures. Fine. So when the sporangium gets mature, it opens up, it bursts, and then the spores comes out of it, and it is dispersed by air, and then it will be inactive till it finds an favorable condition, that is moist surface, and then it will germinate and it will start growing. So this process of propagation, asexual propagation or asexual reproduction, is called spore formation. Let's see what is tissue culture. Tissue culture is a method of raising new plants from small pieces of plant tissue. It is also called micropropagation. The tissue is separated from the growing tip of a plant. The cell is then placed in artificial nutrient medium where they divide rapidly to form a small group of cell or callus. The callus is then transferred into a medium containing hormones where it will grow and differentiate. Then the plantlets which grow in the medium which contains hormone will be placed in soil so that it can grow individually and independently. Fine. So this is what we call tissue culture. Let us now understand the advantages of tissue culture. Why tissue culture is done? They produce exact copies of plants required that have desirable traits. They produce mature plant very quickly. Then multiple plants are produced in absence of seeds. No seeds is required. It is produced from the tissue. Then whole plants are produced, regenerated from plant cells that are genetically modified. Many plants that are clones of each other can be produced. That means the plants are of same, means like they are identical. We can say they are identical. Then disease-resistant plants are produced by micropropagation. So children, this is what we have for today's class. We have discussed about the vegetative propagation, yes, and then tissue culture, its advantages. Then also we discuss about spore formation, and these are the methods of asexual reproduction. Now let us summarize what we have learned. So we have learned that plants that do not produce seeds or have lost the capacity to produce seeds use vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation can be of two types, that is natural and artificial. Naturally, plants can propagate by parts like roots, stem, leaves, bulbils. Yes. Then artificial vegetative propagation include cuttings, layering, grafting. there are many advantages of vegetative propagation, like seedless plants, production of seedless plants, and then also plants can be produced from those which do not produce any seeds. Then uniform yield, that means the production which we get is uniform. Good quality plants are obtained. Then survival rate is high. It's a fast and quick method. Disadvantages are overcrowding of the plants which are produced. Then if the parent plant has disease, then it can be transferred to the new plant. Then there is absence of variation. Then tissue culture is the method of raising plants from small pieces of plant tissues. Advantages of tissue culture is that it multiplies rapidly, then it is disease free and needs less space, and it is a continuous propagation. Lastly, we understood that organisms can also produce from reproductive structures called spores. So it's not always necessary to produce with the help of seeds. So it can be produced by various vegetative parts and also by spore formation. So this is all we have for today's class. Thank you and have a great day.